Con varios niveles de suspense que mantienen en todo momento la tensión, Nuestra casa, de Louise Candlish, es un thriller que engancha desde la primera página y presenta todos los ingredientes que se exigen en una novela del género. Narrada en primera persona, Fiona y Bram confiesan sus mentiras y pecados hasta enredar al lector en una historia repleta de giros que ha merecido el prestigioso premio British Book Award a Mejor Thriller del Año.
The inspiration came from a newspaper article, which the moment I read it, I just had a light bulb moment that I knew this was an incredible crime, one that I'd never come across in fiction, and I had to try and create a story around it. So the article I read was about a woman who had had her house stolen from her, and it was a criminal gang, but she didn't know the perpetrators at all. They had rented her house and then they had fraudulently put it on the market and sold it from under her by forging documents, and in one case changing the name of one of the gang members to her name, so they were able to impersonate her. What I wanted to do though is I wanted to bring it into a family situation, because I thought how much more horrific and tragic if it was a couple and one of them had committed the crime against the other and they were co-owners of the house. Came a bit more easily because I live in a neighbourhood a bit like in the book, and I know lots of women like Fee, and I know all about this cult of being so house proud that it becomes a perfectionist thing, and women have improved and beautified their houses to the point of an art form. So it was very easy to get into her mindset and to know just how passionately she felt about her house and the idea of creating a perfect home for her sons. Bram was a little bit more difficult because he perpetrates such a horrific crime and such an awful betrayal on not just his wife but on his children, that I really needed to understand totally his psychology. And so it took me a little while to build up the elements of his character, and he has many issues in his background that have led him to make the kind of reckless mistakes that he makes as a grown-up. And he also has various weaknesses, such as, you know, a love of alcohol, and he's a bit of a sort of dangerous driver, and he takes risks, and he has fears and phobias, and so he was the most fascinating, complex character. I have read hundreds, maybe thousands of thrillers, and I have found that there is one thing that they all have in common, even if they have entirely different themes and characters and settings. There's one thing that a really good thriller does, and I describe it as the room going dark around you when you're reading. So if I'm reading a good thriller, I might start in the morning and the room is full of sunlight, and I'm reading, and then when I look up, it's dark, and 12 hours have passed and I haven't even noticed, because I haven't got up from my spot. I have to get to the end of this book and find out what happens. So yeah, the room goes dark around you. You know you're reading a fantastic thriller.